Every compliment and accolade and kudos that has been given to Omar Khan and the Steelers for what they've done in the draft. I was just reading again today that NFL.com gave them the number one draft class. They've rated it ahead of the Bears Hall with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. They have it 1 out of 32 teams.
Yep.
They are going to start offseason workouts in the next few days. The real meat of the offseason to put your team together is now in the rearview mirror. Mm-hmm. Free agency's done. The draft is done.
You can only really swing a trade to get a meaningful player.
They've gotten all kinds of credit, and I've been quick to lavish them with that credit. They have 2 holes on their roster at pretty important positions. They don't have a number 2 wide receiver, and they don't have a slot corner. And if they fail to get quality players at those positions, then I'm going to have to take back a lot of the nice things I've said about Omar Khan, because they've left themselves naked and afraid at those 2 valuable spots, man.
Slot corners, I think you can call it a starting corner, because everybody knows, Mike Tomlin has said now, everybody is playing 3. You look at your top 3 corners on the depth chart as starters. So I think it hits harder and more accurately to say that they have only 2 of 3 starting corners. And by the way, their belief in one of those 2 starters they have is far greater than that of the general public's belief. The
Roman Wilson pick did not fill a need. I think they got a really good player for that spot in the draft, the 84th pick. He could have gone in the 50s. I think they've got someone that has a high level of upside, and his style of play fits the team's personality to a T. All of that good, but he's redundant with the guys they already have on the roster, like Calvin Austin, Quez Watkins. They all play inside.
So it's going to be the Van Jefferson show.
And every day we come in here now, and another one of these potential Steeler Band-Aid wide receivers signs somewhere else. DJ Chark goes to the Chargers. Odell Beckham Jr. goes to the Dolphins. Now Tyler Boyd goes to the Titans. It is not an impressive group of receivers left. I'm looking at you, Michael Thomas. I'm looking at you, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who up until the playoffs, I legitimately think forgot how to catch a football.
Open hands.
Yeah, it was
insert football.
He was doing his best Dante Moncrief impression for most of the season with the Chiefs.
Well, you know who's ending up right about this, much to his dismay? Me. What did I tell you had me nervous? No, and I framed it differently. But it was this idea that the Arthur Smith offense tends to support 1 big-time receiver, 2 running backs, and they use the tight ends a lot. Does it not look to you? And Corey Davis, by the way, had more pedigree than any of these guys that are going to play second fiddle to Pickens. Corey Davis was a top 5 pick, whether he was a disappointment or not. It looks to me that they are building structurally the exact offense that Smith had in Tennessee. No Derrick Henry, but we have 2 running backs that we probably like close to as much as they liked Henry. Might not be wise to feel that way. 1 big receiver that's going to be the threat, although A.J. Brown at that point, and Pickens, it might be a good comp. And then we're going to say we beefed up the line. We've got quarterback or quarterbacks we think are mobile enough and still good enough that they can execute a play-action-heavy offense, and we're going to beat you up. That is what they're setting up to do here, Pony. And their inactivity either suggests that they didn't think they needed to do it differently or that they wanted to but couldn't play let's make a deal that worked. But saying, hey, from what you're hearing, they just didn't think Tyler Boyd fit as an outside receiver.
Yeah.
That's striking to me, because if you could have gotten him for anywhere near the amount of money he signed for and you only had to do it for a year, it's a 1-year experiment, why is that not worth a trial balloon?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I actually think they had more depth at left tackle and center than they did at wide receiver. I actually think they have a bigger hole at wide receiver than they did before they drafted Frazier and Fautanu. I think Moore is better at his job than Jefferson is at his, and I think Herbig is probably a better center than Jefferson is a wide receiver at this point.